We're back, people, and today we're breaking a film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And they had a pretty mixed performance, I would say, in this game. They did some things well, some things not so well. Like, some players played really good, some players not so much. But, like, overall, I think, one of the biggest probably issues for the Dolphins in this game is the Raiders had a new offensive coordinator. And so that can make it difficult for, like, film study, kind of, preparing for what they're going to do. They definitely struggled with Brock Bowers, the Raiders tight end. I think they did a good job early on at, like, bending and not breaking, which is, a good thing. They gave up some touchdowns on some key third downs, though, in the second half. But they came off just, like, one player missing a tackle, basically. So that can be fixed. I think, missed tackles is something that has kind of struggled with. I think players like Poyer had a rough game. Kohu had a rough game. But players like Chop Robinson were very good. Ramsey was very good. Sealer and Campbell. Benito Jones was very good in this game. So just like overall mixed performance. I think Storm Duck played a lot of snaps too, and he was quite good. So I'll probably have a Storm Duck video out. Later today I'll have a Quentin Bell video, because Quentin Bell is actually, like, I've never made a video on him, and he's had impact plays made the past 2 weeks that have been, like, pretty impressive, and I've actually been, like, liked his kind of role that he's been playing in his limited snaps. So we'll go down, break down these plays, play by play. They kind of got unlucky on the first drive, actually, because they had a 3 and out, but then they had a running into the kicker accidentally by Calais, which I don't even blame him, because the ball just went right through his hands. Like, he had the blocked punt, but he just somehow went right through his arms, which is unfortunate for a guy that's like 6'7" for that to happen. But here, first third down of the game, they had an incompletion, nice pressure, first down, second down, they stopped the run. They stopped the run really well in this game, which I wasn't worried about, because the Raiders have a really poor, one of the worst run offenses in the league. Like, they're really bad. Dolphins were finding it. They tried to get a screen going, but this is just all Sealer. Like, look at how Sealer recognizes it, feels these guys leaving out in space. Like, he starts out here, he sees these linemen leaking out, and boom, he feels it, uses that link to separate, and then shows off athleticism, instincts, makes that tackle for, them not getting there. That is a really, really nice play. I do think we'll talk about the safeties in this video. I would like to see more Holland actually play near the line of scrimmage, like do some stuff on Bowers they could have done in this game. I feel like, getting Poyer, I don't know who they need to play on the back end, whether it's Poyer, McMorris if he comes back, May, Campbell, but they need to get Holland, I think, more involved on a play-to-play basis, because he's clearly your most talented safety and the guy that you can use in those situations. Dolphins kind of struggled on these, like, jet sweeps, end around stuff to receivers. They did this and gained some good plays. This one, it's like a third and short. Jacoby motions across. They hand it off to him. Unfortunately, they had Brooks on the edge here. Brooks kind of gets sucked down. It wasn't Jordan Brooks' best game. He's been very good for the Dolphins, but he struggled in this one. They get to the outside. Also, Poyer gives up contain. And then Kohu and Walker try to get out there. They miss, some tackles. Brooks comes up and makes it later, but just too many explosives, I think, overall. And then, they go empty. They get Brooks isolated on Bowers. Like, Bowers is so good, man. Such a good player. And if you get this look where you get a empty and you get Bowers isolated on a linebacker, the Raiders are going to take that every single time. And, like, I don't even care who the linebacker is. Like, Bowers is going to take that. So, just good job by the Raiders getting that isolated look. That's kind of what they wanted. Once they motioned this running back over, and once they did that, like, Poyer went back instead of being up on Bowers there. And he absolutely just cooks him on that option route on that in breaker. So, tough there to battle, but Dolphins make up for it on this second and goal situation. They just literally collapse the pocket. On the back end, I think they do a good job, because you can see, like, how they communicate this with the safeties. Holland's just finding the number 3, which I think is big. Like, they're playing man-to-man across the board, but the safeties are, like, trying to find these underneath routes. They're leaving Ramsey isolated one-on-one. Holland's finding the number 3. He would close on Bowers to take that with Walker's help in the middle, and then Poyer kind of helps with the middle of the field too. Everything's just covered. Really good job on the back end on this play. Everyone does their job. And then up front, I did a Chop Robinson video yesterday. This is one of the plays I showed. He collapses the right side. Benito Jones did a really good job in this game. He collapses up the middle, and then Sealer's also helping collapse while getting double teamed. And I think Sealer is the one who ends up getting credit for the sack, and they bring him down. So just good play there to hold him to a field goal in the first half. Just mixed bag of performance, like good things, bad things. Wanted to show this play because Raiders go play action. Really impressed play Walker on this play, because they go play action and try to hit. Like, they have this clear out happening. He takes, the safeties deep, and they're trying to hit Bowers in behind it. which if Walker doesn't bail out of this like this and find Bowers, recognize where he is, and at least like help take away that throwing lane, Minshew probably tries to rip that into that hole, which he doesn't. He's feeling some pressure up front. They go max protection. He escapes the pocket. Only ends up getting like a 1-yard gain on the play, and it could have been a much, much bigger play. The Raiders did much more of their damage underneath. They didn't really, I think they only had like really like one completion I can remember that went down the field. That went like past 10 yards. Everything else was just quick passes. Dolphins kind of struggle with the mesh stuff. They go mesh. This is really basic mesh. The underneath crossers with the tight end sitting over the middle of the field also as well. That hook route. And they hit the mesh. They hit Bowers. They don't pass it off super well in this scenario. They find 87. But the Dolphins are running quarters. And once Brooks has to commit out into the flat, it kind of puts Walker in a tough spot because he kind of has to worry about both meshes at some point. Knows he can pass off 87 there, but then he also has to help take away 88 over the middle, and then they just throw it underneath. And Bowers catches that ball, and he's just so good after the catch. And I know people are like, you got to double him. It can be very difficult to just double a tight end in situations like this, especially just like on early downs. You expecting a run, you have to run your formations, and he's just lined up in line like that. You can't just like be like, okay, we're gonna line up 2 guys over him. Not really how that works. It has to be like obvious passing situations for you to really get to that type of situation. I thought when the Dolphins brought their pressure looks, it did a good job on the back end. Like here, they bring pressure with Ramsey, and Raiders block it up decently enough right away. They don't get like a free blitzer. Chop ends up forcing him out, and then Ramsey gets a pressure. But I thought the Dolphins did a good job on the back end distributing when they brought pressure looks. Like everything is pretty much locked up here across the board. Everyone's in their correct position. Looks like, Dolphins are running more like a cover 6. They got cover 2 at the bottom, more like a quarters look up top. Everyone's in where they need to be, and then forces that throwaway there from Minshew. But unfortunately, the one time they actually were able to get Holland up on Bowers, it was like they actually were like, okay, Holland, you're going to be man-to-man on Bowers. It wasn't like the ideal look because Bowers was lined up in the backfield, and they just go mesh. Basically, they create a rub here, and they force Holland to work over the top. And once Holland works over the top of this, Minshew's just reading this. He sees if he peeks towards Holland and the guy that's man-to-man on him, if he goes over the top of it, you're just going to throw a quick to Bowers. If he goes underneath it, you throw the wheel to Bowers, like deeper down the field. But they throw it quick to Bowers. It just gets him all the space to work with, and he's got way too much, athleticism, speed to not pick up the first down. That's why I wanted Holland more like when, Bowers is lined up in the slot or at the tight end position, just to like have Holland there. It would make it much easier, but this was just a good play call by the Raiders, and they took advantage of a lot of the quick stuff and just kind of took what the Dolphins were giving them in those situations. I thought underneath they did a good job. Good job creating pressure here. I think, Benito gets pulled to the ground there. Probably could have got called for holding, but Sealer creates initial pressure. Just make Minshew uncomfortable as possible. I thought they did a better job passing things off too, because as you can see, I'll have a video on Quentin Bell, but this is one of the plays where he redirects the tight end initially. He then also finds the guy working across. They pass this off. Brooks is able to at least get enough out there towards the wheel to that tight end late. Just good job passing things off, being in the correct position this time by your second, third level defenders, and also creating some of that initial pressure. This one was unfortunate. This was a third down where they could have had a stop where they get like the look they want. They get Minshew down. It's just Calais kind of gets chipped right here. Probably could have worked to the outside, and Minshew was able to escape. Also, I wonder if this could have been called for because Coe sees him escape and Coe shoots down, but this receiver kind of illegally blindside blocks him. I feel like that could have been called right there. Just like an illegal blindside block down the field and takes Coe out of the play. Because if Coe is able to get downhill and, break this to the outside, but a potential, but Minshew was able to escape, get that first down. And they actually had things covered up fairly well, like on the back end. And the Dolphins are basically playing quarters, with match principles, they're matching on the outside. But then the safeties are cheating over to help away from Ramsey because they were not they were leaving isolated a lot of the game. Ramsey played absolutely phenomenal in this game. So that was good work. They definitely weren't threatened by the Raiders receivers. I wouldn't be surprised if you see something similar next week versus Patriots because they're not going to be super threatened by the Patriots. I wonder if the first time they played the Patriots, they blitzed a lot and played man. I don't know if they'll do that as much because May is more of a threat as a runner. I still think they're going to try to rattle him and get after him, but maybe have more of a spy instead of if they do go man-to-man compared to last time. Because that will be the way to kind of stop him. But I think May's been pretty good under pressure, surprisingly. I think his like EPA, his stats are like way worse not under pressure than it is under pressure, which is weird. But here, Minshew, this was the third down stop. Now they're holding him to the field goal. This is all because of Chop instantly winning, forcing this check down to Mayer right away, and Mayer kind of loses his balance. Probably would have got tackled short to gain, but probably would have gotten closer. They kind of covered everything up pretty nicely on the back end right away. Dolphins are, and playing in like that split field look with the safeties. Things get matched up here. Everything's kind of taken. Just forcing a lot of check down throughout the game. That was kind of the name of the game. Not showing too many run plays because the Dolphins pretty much just shut it down, and there wasn't really too much to break down on those. But off play action here, they get a sack on an early down. Benito Jones creating disruption. Calais finishing. Just good work across the board. People getting back, taking away throwing lanes. They're not giving up any easy completions. But yeah, most of the time when they try to push the ball down the field, it really didn't work, other than like one example. But this screen really got to them. Big screen play. D-line definitely all got way too far upfield, and then it left Poyer and Brooks to try to beat three blockers, so it was like a 2-on-3, and they both get kind of taken out of the play, which honestly was expected. I think the D-line got way too far upfield. You had your backups in here too, so it's unfortunate. I will say, though, they were hustling to get back there, because a lot of them got back down to help make this tackle on Madison. Like, I think Quentin Bell ends up actually getting the tackle, and like 97, 90 all got back, like kind of involved in the play. But yeah, just something I think they were kind of struggling with throughout the game, with some of this underneath stuff being completed. And then it's like plays like this, like the 2 touchdowns the Raiders scored in this game. This is why I'm like, these were very preventable touchdowns. Is both were 3rd and long situations that were just quick passes underneath where they missed a wide open field tackle. This one they motion across and Poyer's late to it. So this one he runs into Kohu. He takes a poor angle. So like this is on Poyer more so than Kohu, because Kohu's playing man to man. All his eyes are on this receiver. Poyer knows like his eyes. He knows the ball is going there, so he should be trying to work through this trash, not Kohu. But he still runs into Kohu, which bumps him out of the way. Now he doesn't have the athleticism to get out to Bowers, and then he also scores from here because Bowers would have got the first down anyways. But if Poyer just takes the correct angle, gets to his spot a little bit faster, or just honestly just had any more athleticism at this point in his career, this isn't a touchdown. But it turns into a touchdown, like just plays that were very, very preventable that they could have held to more field goals, similar to the Rams game last week. But Bowers just ate them apart. Here the Dolphins on another key 3rd down. They go one rat, so everyone's playing man-to-man across the board. You got deep safety Holland, and then you got Brooks as like the rat player, so he's got middle of the field. Preferably, I would rather just swap this and have Holland be on Bowers and Poyer play deep, because even though Poyer doesn't have like super range, like I'm not as worried. Like he could just cheat over to this side if needed, and like have Ramsey and Holland on the back end play 1-on-1, and then have Brooks help here. And Brooks helps to the middle, but Bowers hits him with the outbreaker, sit back, return to the middle, and he just beats Poyer 1-on-1. He gives him that shake, too good, and picks up that first down. And they took advantage of that matchup a lot throughout the game. A lot. Here was the other 3rd down touchdown, another 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9 situation, and like they cover up everything on the back end. They get a quick pressure. They actually false start too. Like this 71, as you can see, is moving much before the snap. They could have easily called a false start on this play. Chop even points it out, but they don't call it. Even Holland was pointing at it from back here. But they cover up things pretty nicely. Everything is taken away, and they're playing quarters down in the red zone. This literally just comes down to Kohu breaking down. Like, Kohu's got to understand situations. Like, if they needed like 1 or 2 yards, then yes, fly down, try to take out his legs and sweep it. Because Kohu, we've seen him make this play. We've seen him miss this tackle. Like, this is something he's usually very good at, is coming down, making plays on like either screens or dump offs for swings. Usually his strength, and he usually sweeps out the legs underneath them. But understanding situation is so important. This is a 3rd and goal from the 10. You gotta know everyone else is probably sitting in the end zone. You just break this down, make him slow down, make his move, then everyone else can rally. But since the other people to this side of the field, like Duck and Holland, they get depth to carry 11. they're not there to like instantly make a play, and Dux wasn't even looking at it because he had eyes on 11. Ko's just got to break down and understand the situation better here. Like, if he needed a couple yards, yes, you fly at him and try to break that momentum, because if you break down, he can potentially make you miss and then barely get the first down. But by doing that, you're giving him the best chance to score a touchdown. And those were the two like touchdown scores they had. Thank God the Dolphins offense closed it out, and then Ramsey comes out, gets a pick. Dolphins get some nice, like, looks like they might get a quick pressure. Minshew's like, okay, I gotta throw it early. He tries to throw with anticipation. Him and Myers aren't on the same page, and Ramsey gets blessed with an interception, which he deserved because he was playing phenomenal in this game. They're playing cover 2. He was really good. Ramsey had the picks versus the Raiders last year too, so maybe he just owns the Raiders. And then we're just finish it out with just the final drive. Where like the game's over at this point, by the way. Dolphins are up 2 scores. There's like they're running out the clock, no timeouts basically, and they throw this underneath. And look how much Ramsey's still playing. Like, he's throwing hits, and these hits too. Like, they're trying to get out of bounds and get a first down here. They do get the first down, but since he's getting like this hard hit, he's forcing them backwards. And if you go to out of bounds backwards, it stops your momentum, and then they run the clock. Like, your forward momentum, it's not the same as getting out of bounds. Like, you have to either get out of bounds sideways, and then the same thing the next play. They try to throw it out. Like, the fact that he's still playing this hard, and like he's gonna get out of bounds here, but he hits him right before he goes out, stops his forward momentum, carries him out of bounds backwards, and that continues the clock running. Just really, really hard playing. I feel like the team is just bought in. I feel like that's the biggest positive that I'm seeing with this season. Like, yes, you're still in a bad spot. But there is hope now. Obviously, there's definitely hope now. Being 4-6, like, you can only lose one, but at least there's hope. The Dolphins haven't given up. I think that's like the biggest thing. Is there was other teams that were in very similar positions to the Dolphins that have just given up. If you watch them week to week, they don't have the heart. They don't have the fight. I think that's the biggest thing. Is the Dolphins have been called a soft team, and maybe there's times where I think they could be tougher and better in certain situations, but clearly they have not given up without a fight, and they are trying to win these games. So I think that's like a big positive. I also think that's a really positive thing for McDaniel, is they clearly haven't given up on him, because I think that was like the way for me to move on from McDaniel, I just have to see the team give up on him, but they have not given up on him yet. So I think that's like the big positive takeaway, I think, from the game as a whole. Defense can still get better. I think, a lot of the negative plays were just like one individual player just making a dumb play that was very avoidable, and I could see them actually making that play in the future. This was kind of like those 2 missed tackles on the touchdowns are basically the difference between the Rams and the Raiders game, because it's not like the Rams weren't moving the ball and had a bunch of field goals. It's just they couldn't finish drives with touchdowns, and these 2 plays, this touchdown to Bowers, a touchdown to Amir Abdullah, were the difference makers between those 2 games realistically. And Bowers was just feeding. Bowers is so good, man. I really loved Bowers pre-draft, and he definitely has lived up to that hype. As he's the best tight end prospect that I've watched, at least draft-wise. So if you guys are like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.